Om Mahaganapataye Namaha. In this video, I'm going to talk about Remember John's Wisdom. Who's John? John is a gentleman that I met while out I came from a restaurant and I had some extra food and I saw John in the parking lot and I brought the food to him and we started talking. John is an elderly man. He looked elderly since he had been outside, looked like he had been living outside for quite a while. Bald head, toothless, he was without a shirt, wearing some very, very worn pants, had a shopping cart full of a bunch of knickknacks and looked like a lot of garbage. But John was so happy, and we were talking, and he told me he like made a point to tell me, um, always enjoy every single day. And this was coming from a guy who was living on the street and very very impoverished. And when he said it, it just hit me. I know we've heard these things before, but to hear it from somebody like that and in person, it felt like God was speaking to me through John. And I've been trying to remember this, and it's very, very simple, and it's so profound. And to take it even further is try to enjoy every moment. And how do you enjoy every moment? There's so much. We're all at a center of a tornado, of a whirlwind that just all of our obligations, all this stuff going around us. And the easiest way is I will relate an anecdote from, I believe this is the Vedic tradition or South Indian, is a mother was telling her children, always remember God because God's always happy. So the easiest way to stay in a place of enjoyment is to remember God. And who is God after all? God is you. God is God is your nature beneath the mind. In a previous video I talked about, you can go watch about the ego identity versus the unlimited identity. And in quantum physics, that simply means um, the manifestation of unlimited potential uh, based on the collection of information, which is our identity. That's what we're experiencing as our limited identity. The unlimited potential beneath that, or the soul, that's existing in all beings. And that's why you keep remembering God, because by remembering God and by chanting God's name and by singing about God and just thinking about God, what you're doing is you're focusing your mind to on that unlimited potential. And they have a saying is, I forget the Sanskrit. It basically means you become as you think. So the more that you think about something, you're gonna become that, and that's a science. That's not no longer just a fringe, superstitious belief, thanks to quantum physics. And so the mind has a tendency to worry. So the mind always wants to worry. It always wants to try to structure. It wants to try to list out things, and worry about the future, and also be depressed about the past because it's the nature of the mind in this current age. So by they say that the higher intelligence that you have, the more quiet you'll become. And also now we have a way to scientize that as well. In the quantum physics model where you have the unified theory, and then you have sort of like if you imagine an ocean, the waves at the top is sort of like where we're existing or identified with, and the vast silent ocean is sort of the underlying principle of the silence. So the more quiet you become, the more that you start to identify with more and more unlimited intelligence or greater intelligence. That's why the more quieter you become, or the naturally more silent you are, the more your intelligence increases. Not only, they say that the person with the strongest voice, or the person with the most influential words, is the one who is experiencing the greatest silence within them. So being silent is being very, very powerful. And for most people, including myself and everybody who's stuck in this mind and body, remaining silent naturally, it can be challenging, it can be difficult. That's where meditation and using mantras, a way to focus the mind. Meditation simply means focusing of the mind. You can boil it down to that. That's why meditation is not just when you're laying on the bed or sitting in the chair with your eyes closed. This is good. This is a meditation. But the yogis instead of say the meditation never stops. You're always in a state of meditation. And what does that mean? It means when you're going about the day, your day, just keep remembering God's name. So if it's Jesus or Buddha or whoever it is, just keep saying Jesus, Jesus, or Isho, 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 and thinking about them, or saying doing prayers to them. I like to pray. My archetype I'm working with now is Ganapati or Ganesha, and I recommend Ganapati to everybody. He's not limited to any religion. In the West, they call him as the divine director. He's in Japan, he's in China, he's in all over the place. He's a universal archetype who personifies Om, or the sound of God. Dr. Eben Alexander, the neuroscientist, I believe from Harvard, had a near-death experience. He had no religious background at all. During his near-death experience, he went to heaven, and the book is called Proof of Heaven, and he talks about the sound of God being Om. So you have this guy who had no religious background also coming to the same conclusion who the mystics, who were able to, through their own practices, take their mind and facilitate near-death experiences by leaving their body, or by being aware of the different planes of existence, or the higher planes. And so to summarize really quickly is, remember John's wisdom all the time. Enjoy every moment. And that really is, you have to allow yourself to do that, because the mind and the ego will always try to worry and prevent you from doing that. The best way to do that is to recognize that your ego and identity and what they're trying to do, what their game is, and just leave it. And the more that you do this, the more that you'll start creating a gap where you'll be able to recognize that chatter as something that's not you. It's sort of like a virus, or a corrupt program that's going on, and the more that gap creates, the more this starts to diffuse. And just always enjoy that moment, and then remember the wisdom of the mother is always call on God, because God's always happy. So keep remembering God's name, keep praying to God, keep thinking about God. If you, I recommend using mantras. Mantras are simply names of God, or sounds of God. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. And when you say Namaha, it's not arbitrary, but when you say Namaha, try to remember it's I worship you. And you're not necessarily, it's not that you're worshiping an external being, you're worshiping that part of yourself who exists within you, to bring that part of yourself out. Namaha, I worship you, I honor that part of myself, I appreciate that unlimited part of myself who's always happy, who's unlimited in their compassion, who's so intelligent and so blissful all the time. And even as I'm talking about this, I'm feeling my heart expand, and I hope that this comes through, and I hope that this helps and benefits you as well. So give it a try. Always remember John's wisdom. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below this video. And if you want to be notified for any new videos as I release them, hit the subscribe and click the little bell button. God bless.